Entering the Pat Mayo Experience.
Pat Mayo Experience. Pat Mayo Experience. Pat Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience Wyndham Championship DraftKings picks and preview. Folks, the Pat Mayo Experience Listeners League is not full yet for the first time in like 3 months, by a Tuesday at least. So this is Tuesday morning. If you hit the description of this podcast or video, you can get the link to the Pat Mayo Experience DraftKings Open. There's like 1,000 spots left, so go fill that up right away, or they're going to make it smaller. I know football's coming back and other sports have come back, but hey, this is the best tournament on DraftKings. There's no rake. Let's continue to fill it, all right? Smash the like button to the episode. Give me your favorite sleeper in the comment section. Remember to subscribe, rate, and review. The best thing you can do to help this show remain free. 5-star review, 5-star rating for the Pat Mayo Experience audio podcast. Also, all stats and tools that you will see and hear in this show are provided by fantasynational.com for 20% off all the tools and access to the stats, the full membership, weekly, monthly, annual, whatever one you want. You get the 20% off by going to fantasynational.com/Mayo. Joining me on the line to break down the Wyndham Championship, it is Ben Rasa from awesomeo.com. Par 70s, back-to-back weeks, same course, right?
Yeah, so this is going to be one for the books here. The old Wyndham, not my favorite, but coming off of Harding Park, I actually am a little more excited. I was not a fan of that course last week.
So I'm thinking about like key stats, how the course sets up for this week at Sedgefield CC. The thing that we need to do, since this is the final tournament before the FedEx Cup playoffs, is look who's on the bubble and just take those guys because they want it more, right?
Yeah, the narratives are strong this week. It never works. And I don't even know, not that I would ever actually consider something like that. This year, what happens with tour cards?
I believe they get rolled over into the next year. I'm not 100% on that. Like the Corn Ferry guys will graduate, but everyone who like got their card last year, I think keeps it. Like they just kind of fudged everything together. But that means so few spots for some of these players, even though they have exemptions into the field.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah, the status, which is a little complicated to begin with, will make it tough. So guys will be gunning for it. It seems like a little stronger field than we normally get here, which is kind of exciting, but that just makes the winning score that much lower, possibly.
Yeah, the course record has been set 2 of the past 3 years, both at -22, once by Henrik Stenson, and then again last year with JT Poston. It was one shot off that when Brant Snedeker won the year before. He opened with the opening round 59 2 years ago, beating CT Pan in the very end. But I'm just looking at the FedEx Cup standings now. You need to be top 125 to get in. So you got guys like Burgoon, Seifert, Watney, Zach Johnson, Stanley, Shane Lowry, Matt Wallace, Rafa Cabrera-Bello, Sergio Garcia, like some decent guys who are in this field. Like Siwoo Kim is right on the bubble. He's 122 right now, or 121 right now. Tom Lewis is just inside. Like getting your FedEx Cup spot. Well, it doesn't seem like, the playoffs are stupid, but I think everyone wants to win the $15 million. So I don't know if you could slice it one of two ways. One, like these guys really want it. They're going to be locked in. They're going to be playing well, or too much pressure, Ben. They're going to suck.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm sure that they want it, and I'm sure that's why a lot of them are here. But they've also had like many opportunities to not be where they are. And it's not like you can just flip a switch. So if I'm close on a couple golfers, I will look at something like that, but it's not just, oh, now it's time for me to get inside the 125. I'm going to play better.
Wyndham Championship, short course, Sedgefield CC, par 70, Bermuda grass, just over 70, 100 yards. So although TPC Southwind and Harding Park were both par 70s, they were a tad bit longer than this one. This one's like a hit and giggle. Irons, putting. That's about it.
Yeah, literally that's it. You're going to be able to hit an absurd amount of greens here, and then you're going to need to make putts because you have to go probably north of 20 under. So it's literally impossible to get there without gaining some strokes putting. I don't know. I don't really like events like this, but I am a little excited about the change of pace. I like when you have events that are radically different week after week.
Yeah, we're back to a full field of 156 players. Top 65 in ties make the cut. So expect to see like the 6 of 6 percentage at like, 3% or something like that. But here's my problem with this week. I have my scrubs like good to go. Like I'm just starring everyone down in the $6,000 area. I have no clue what to do at the very top of the pricing at DraftKings. So we look like Brooks is the most expensive guy. He's 11-4. I can't believe like he hasn't withdrawn from this field yet. Then you got Webb. He's also above $11,000. He kills this course. He's won here. He named his daughter after the course. He lives on the course. Then you got Reed, a previous winner, Fleetwood, Casey, all above $10,000 as well. Fleetwood has never played at this event before, but he kind of rates out as a guy who would do really well here. So I'm really confused. Do I even take any, like, Webb is going to be like a legit, I don't know, 30 to 60% owned in all contests, I think. Like, I'm not going to play Webb Simpson this week. And if that's the reason I lose, that's probably why I'm going to lose, because he's probably going to play well. But in the off chance he has a bad week, like, you just take out so much of the field by just not having Webb.
For sure. It's going to be a frustrating thing to do that, possibly in the short term, but the weeks where you get something like that right, you really shrink the contest you're in. So in cash, it's a no-brainer. In large field tournaments, I'm not going to say it's a no-brainer to fade him, but you're going to have options. $700 difference to Tommy Fleetwood, who wasn't great last week, but at the same time, he's chugging along just fine. I have no concerns about him, and you're obviously going to get an ownership discount. So I'm with you. The win equity is wildly distributed, which is why as we go lower, you're going to be talking about a ton of guys that could win this tournament. But up top, it's tough. I mean, I don't know what to do with Brooks. Reed is just there. I like him more than most. But to me, Reed and Fleetwood probably over Brooks and Webb at first glance.
Looking at the ownership projections, and again, this is a Tuesday morning. This can fluctuate wildly because it hasn't completely accounted for Abraham Answer withdrawing from this field, who was at 9,700. So that ownership's going to go somewhere, probably onto Justin Rose or Harris English or Billy Horschel when we get to the nines. But it looks like Fleetwood's going to be the lowest owned of the 10K plus guys, which kind of blows my mind, because if I would have just assumed that Brooks was going to be like 2% owned, because I don't know who is using Brooks this week. Like, is there a case to use Brooks here? Like, can you see him just being pissed off from last week after the bad Sunday? Like, just in my mind, you have the overall narrative that Brooks only shows up at big events. That's one, although that's not necessarily true. He actually plays really well on par 70s. If you go back and look historically, like, he did win in Phoenix. That's a par 71, but like, he's played well at Honda. He plays well at the PGA Championship, the US Open. He plays well in Memphis. Those are all par 70s. And we've seen him had a nice run at Colonial before. Like, could you talk yourself into playing Brooks? Because you're going to have the money to do it this week.
Yeah, you're going to have the money, and normally the highest priced guy is one of the more popular on the slate, just on a macro level. So can I talk myself into it? Yeah. He struck it well. He didn't really do much with the putter. Obviously Sunday was bad. It's tough. To me, this is where ownership does come into play. I know it's not the most exciting thing to talk about, but if him and Fleetwood are very similar in ownership, if him and Reed are similar in ownership, and I'm just choosing, straight up best available, to me, I'll take the savings. Him versus Webb is a little different, because you're talking like, I don't know, maybe 1/5, 1/6 the ownership in some spots. So that's a different type of decision. It's just a matter of how you want to balance your team.
So could you see a scenario where you fade everyone above $10,000? Because yes, that class of player is significantly better than the next class, but like the 8,000 to 9,000 is a huge leap up from the rest of the field too, that if you just populated your teams with 9K and 8K guys, I think you'd be looking pretty good as well.
Yeah, you can do that. It's a little interesting this week because we have 5 guys in the 9K and Answer already withdrew. So you have, if you use Rose at 99, it'll look somewhat normal. If you don't, though, your max player is 93, and that's if you use English. So then you're going like wildly balanced. I'm not saying that can't work, especially in a week like this with the win equity. I usually normally don't go that low, though. I like to start in the upper 9s, not the lower 9s.
So Fleetwood seems to be the guy for us. He's coming in with like triple or 1/3 the ownership of like Paul Casey this week. And it's actually been a pretty decent spot for some of these Euros to, pick up a win somewhere. Like Stenson won here. Sergio has won here in the past. And even like when you just look at international players anyway, Siwoo picked up a win. KJ Choi picks up a win. Carl Peterson picks up a win. So if you have like although just Fleetwood's irons have been so bad over the past 3 weeks, like he's driving the ball okay, and he's making his putts, which is nice, that this does seem like a course where he can get it right very quickly.
Well, he needs to turn it around. Like if you're just looking blindly at the stats, you're not going to get to Fleetwood. You mentioned he's lost in 3 of the last 4 with the approach, 2 of the last 3, which are relevant in terms of post break. I still, though, I don't weigh that too heavily. He can turn it around quickly, and you're just being different. Webb makes sense. There's a reason he's going to be 40% owned. Possibly, he makes a lot of sense on every level. So it's not to say that he's not going to play well. It's just, are you willing to roll the dice up top, or do you want to use Webb and then roll the dice with the other 5 spots? That's obviously viable too.
Yeah, I think if you're in the business of not wanting to lose all your money, that playing Webb is probably, a good idea. But if you want to win some of your money back, playing Webb, pretty good idea. But I just feel like if I'm going to enter these giant GPPs this week, I'm not worried about ownership realistically outside of Webb. That I think it's a decision: do you play Webb or do you not play Webb? And if Webb plays well, I'm going to lose all my money. I'm okay with that though. Like that's part of the game.
That's what we do on this show.
That's a part of the game. We lose money.
Yeah. No, story of the Webb situation. Listen, it is what it is. If you're vying for a top heavy prize, and you can probably unlikely, but possibly kill almost half the field with one guy, that's pretty intoxicating no matter what the situation is.
So I guess it depends on what the other guys around him do in order to see if he ends up being a value or not. But like, how low would Webb have to finish to not pay off this price? Like if he comes in second, but he's the only guy of the top 5 price spot guys who comes in second, you're probably still going to need him on your team just because that's how builds are going to go. But if he comes like T13, you're probably good, right?
Yeah, I mean, this week there will be more room because if, say, just like a random 7K guy wins and then an 8K guy is in second, then placement points are almost irrelevant. And Webb could be on the optimal team just by having a normal finish. But at the same time, he's 11,200. He needs a big week. He needs Reed, Fleetwood, or Brooks not to win, obviously. Like that's going to make it even tougher if one of them has a big showing. When you're talking top 65 in ties, yes, it seems like it would be impossible for him not to play well. Believe me, anyone can get cut anywhere. I can speak to that in many situations. So it's not as surefire as you think.
If we drop down to the 9K, like I have no problem starting my team with Justin Rose. It appeared like at the outset of the week that people weren't really digging him all that much. But now with Answer out, like he's just a very logical place to either be your second man in some of these stars and scrubs build, or for the people that want to fade the top, go Fleetwood Rose, Casey Rose, Reed Rose, and fade the top 2 guys. You can make lineups work that way too. I like Justin Rose. I actually bet him to win at 22-1.
Yeah, I mean, he's just doing exactly what you want. Crush with the irons, crush with the putter. Now we get, a field strength where now he's towards like the literal top of it. I have no problem. I wish Answer was still in here just because I think anybody, of course they can drop, but more people than not will just say, oh, I'll play Rose now. He's not going to benefit ownership wise from that, but he's a good starting point. He's a good pairing with those guys. He really fits what I want to do this week. And just, you're getting a lot of bang for your buck. Sub 10K in a field like this for Justin Rose is appealing.
Yeah, I actually parsed out some of the courses that I like in comparison with Sedgefield. So I just threw it into the Fantasy National modeling. And it was, let's see here, Sedgefield, both Sea Island courses. So for the RSM, Plainfield CC, which is a Ross course that's been used twice at the Barclays, Harbortown, East Lake, Colonial, and Detroit Golf Club. Just short par 70s. A lot of crossover success between a lot of these courses. And like Justin Rose crushes those courses. In terms of overall strokes gained, he's second in strokes gained total over the past 36 rounds on those courses. He's first tee to green, first in ball striking. Webb is number 1 over the course of those courses. Here's the rest of the top 10, though. Neiman, Poston, Sergio, Horschel, CT Pan, Paul Casey, Rory Sabatini, Brooks Koepka, and Brian Stewart.
You got some names there. And it's guys that, again, abilities to go crazy low. Obviously, some of them had, Poston's had success here. CT Pan at a couple of those courses, that's what it's measuring. And this does have a pretty defined profile of what you need to do. Like some weeks, especially last week, I talked a lot about, I had some bomber stacks and some scrambling stacks and stuff. Here, it really is hit your approaches and make your putts. I don't know how much variations there is in what you need to do here.
Yeah, like the off the tee stuff. I mean, it helps, obviously.
Course,
when Snedeker and Webb have such a good profile, now is it that these guys have a really good profile for the course? Because, like you said, the field is a lot better than it usually is. Is it just like we saw at Harbortown, where it attracts a certain type of player? The shorter hitters, the iron players, the putters tend to populate these fields. Maybe it gets thrown out of whack a little bit. Although this field isn't super duper strong, there are a few names here that are pretty good.
It's not like, and obviously Berger's still just an anomaly. He crushes everywhere. But like when they moved Southwind to a WGC, to me, that was like a drastic difference in field strength. This is a little stronger, but it's not like they're playing a major here and everyone wants to play Webb. That would be different. So I get it. I do think there is a type that naturally puts this on their calendar and some of the bigger names don't. But overall, I still think you got to do what you're going to do. And it's hard to see someone separating off the tee and winning like that. It will help, but I don't know how you lean purely on off the tee here and be effective.
If you just look at approach on those courses that I was talking about, the Ross and similar type, some of the Pete Dye, the shorter par 70 courses, over the past 36 rounds on those in strokes gained approach, your top 10 is Sergio, Rose, Casey, Pan, Webb, Sink, Neiman, Kokrak, Stanley, Piercy, Luke List, Jim Furyk, Chesson Hadley, Doc Redman, Corey Connors. Like that sounds like the type of guy that we want to play this week.
Yeah. A lot of those guys are going to be in the player pool. A lot of those guys are similar games. So yeah, there's no doubt about it, what you want to do. It's just trying to leverage your builds. And I think everyone knows that. So I wouldn't be stunned to see ownership pretty condensed this week in a lot of areas.
Oh, I just got an email from DraftKings telling me the player pool has been updated. So, oh my God.
What we got?
Oh, this is going to be right up your alley, Raza. So Peter Uline
Yeah.
added to the field, 6,500. That's not the big one though. We got Josh Teeter in at 62. Someone named Brinson Paulini at 6,000. Jake Schumann at 6,000, and Ben Martin, $6,400.
Oh, I think this is the first time I can say Bermuda Benny, and it actually is useful. Okay. I don't know what I don't know if he was on the Corn Ferry lately. He was doing some damage. Where is he? Is he flat min?
He's 6,400. Now, it gets weaker than Ben Martin, trust me.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, he's with Effie Barnrad. Good company.
Let's see. In his past few starts on tour, he's missed his last 3 cuts on tour. So he missed at Rocket Mortgage. He is due. 3M and Barracuda missed the cut at all 3 of those. But on the Corn Ferry Tour, his past 2 starts, T6 and T9.
Yeah, so he knows. Missing the cut at Barracuda is not great. But I probably, you know what? That's something we're going to have to dig into. The Bermuda man is here. Who withdrew to get him in? Maybe Lanto. Get out of there. I'll take it. There are some names down low. We're going to get very egregious because I have a lot of guys low this week.
Well, that's why I wanted to talk through the top end with you, because like I feel good about the 6K range this week. Like that's not a problem for me. I want to bet these guys to try to win this tournament. I feel like it's going to go we've seen the template for this style of tournament since the restart. It either goes full 3M or full Rocket Mortgage, where you have the favorite run away with everything, and then like Reed and Hatton and Wolf, like 4 of the top 6 guys end up inside the top 5, or it goes like it did in Minnesota, where like no one good ended up inside the top 20.
Yeah, that was never go full 3M. It's tricky because you don't want to pick someone up top and you're not like banking on them. Well, someone down low is going to win and they just need to like make a cut. That's not how it works. But at the same time, you have additional outs this week. So if you really do like some aggressive guys down low, maybe you do keep it steady up top. Like guys like Harris English and Billy Ho, they never really stand out to me. They're always, to me, over-owned and they make a lot of cuts. But maybe that is a build you can explore this week if you're really pumping up the aggressiveness with your other 4 guys.
I do think that taking a look at ownership to try to find some pivot plays might be the move. It doesn't seem like anyone's owning Spieth at $9,000. That seems kind of crazy to me, especially at this course where driving doesn't matter and it's about irons and putting.
I like Spieth this week. First time I've said that in a very long time. I still, this is a field where his talent's towards the top. The price is pretty reasonable. The ownership is going to be reasonable. And his biggest leak is somewhat mitigated. So it's hard to tell with him because, you look at, he's another guy, not that he has a ton of history here, but he came in second here like 7 years ago. He was just a different player then, obviously. He wasn't good last year. I'm willing to go to him, especially if you're telling me I get an ownership discount on top of it, just because I still think the ceiling is fine. It's more, we know how bad he can be at times.
Well, just looking at all the guys around him, and again, this hasn't really accounted for Abraham Answer withdrawing, but I have English and Horschel at both above 20% right now, and Spieth at 7%.
Yeah, exactly. Like, is he 1/3 as likely to beat them? Obviously not. Now, again, it's all about balance. You don't want, like, if you have wild men down low, I don't know if hitching your wagons to Spieth up top is the right move, because I think his miscut equity is higher than those guys that you just mentioned.
I don't know. Like, that's been kind of the common theme. If you had to guess in the 2019 to 2020 season, how many cuts do you think Spieth has missed?
How many of, like, post restart or all?
Let's just go post restart. Sure.
2.
He's missed 1 cut in 7 events.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, but I will say this. I should probably just pull it up, but like, there's a lot of times he makes a cut and then I'll put it like this. I played him on Saturday in Showdown, and I had negative points in Showdown late in the day. And it wasn't just because of the 3-hour time difference. He was so bad. And in an event like this, yes, placement points are going to be, I don't want to say irrelevant. You're going to be able to outscore it. And he is a high volatile scoring, but coming in 60th is not going to really help you here.
No, and he was 78th at this tournament last year. Like, I don't want to say that Jordan Spieth is a lock. I just found him really interesting based on he's turning. I mentioned this with Feinberg on the Monday show that we should just get a feature group of Phil, Spieth, and Bubba every single week. Like, that would just be an entertaining way to start off your day at like 7 a.m. if you're up. Just be like, oh, let's turn on these 3 idiots, see where they're hitting the ball today.
Yeah, I mean, it would make for interesting. You see a lot of different areas of the course that you didn't know existed, no doubt about that. And I do like I can't do West Coast golf. It's like a 15-hour sweat. I don't know how it's longer, but it's seemingly longer out there.
It was odd. I found that the rounds at the PGA Championship really took a long time versus like your regular tour event.
Yeah, it was legitimately like 10 o'clock at night here, and it was still going. I can't do that. This is more, give me a good cut sweat at like 3 p.m.
There is a pretty pronounced split, too, if you just go look at the courses where Spieth has played well recently, and even historically. Like, there are all these shorter courses, the par 70s. Like, this is where he does most of his damage because his length is... It's not even that his length. It's his accuracy that's really the problem. He's not a short hitter. He's like an average hitter off the tee. But he can make this work here. Like, he's won John Deere. He's played well here. He's won at Valspar. Like, he's won at Colonial. Like, these are all the courses that I'm looking at.
Yeah. Oh, listen, this course fits Spieth. You're really asking, is just Spieth not, if you think he's just a different player and he's completely like done, I don't want to say done, but just not able to be a 9K player in any field right now. I think that's a reasonable take. I'm going to pick my spots. I've picked them pretty lightly. I like him here. I really do. He'll be in the pool, no doubt. And, Brendan Todd, Billy Ho, like Sanjay's not playing good, obviously. You can get away with Spieth here, no doubt about it.
Yeah, so Fleetwood, Rose, Spieth. Might just lock...
Yeah, this is shaping up.
I might just lock those guys in and figure out the rest.
Spray and pray. I mean, I don't know. I know lineups are not built on paper, but man, like, you look at those 3 names in a field like this, not too shabby. In theory. No,
and when we get to let's talk about the 8K guys, because I think there's a huge distinction here between guys that are in good recent form or potentially fit the course decently versus just who are good players.
Oh, no, I mean, that's something that we're weighing all the time, where you have just like, Sergio, guys like that who are, I mean, it's easy to say this now, but like Paul Casey last week, when you just like look at the mid 7s and it's just like, well, he's one of the long-term better players. He's playing like just god awful. Do you want to stick with him? Someone like Sergio who couldn't putt last week, I'll happily go back to him. I won't even think twice about it. And then you've got the Kisner, Sneds, Ryan Moores, of Corey Connors. A lot of guys in that low 8 range that fit what you want to do here.
I like Ryan Moore at $8,100.
Oh,
I just like the way that he's been playing lately. It's been a bit under the radar because the guy can't make a fucking putt to save his life. But That's never really been his thing, but he kills these Ross courses. Even Eastlake, he has played well against like super strong fields. The ball striking is back, and that's what you want to see from him. And he's won this tournament before. He's won at John Deere before. Like, he's won these hit and giggles. Like, I'd be curious to see. I can probably go, research this if I wanted to, but it seems like if he's ever going to win an event, it's going to be an event that he wins at like minus 18 or lower.
No doubt he's built for these type of things. He was way better than 12th at the 3M. He just couldn't do anything. And that was a shootout, and that caps you. I actually bet Ryan Moore.
Me too.
This week. Okay, well, there we go. Just make some putts, guy. He's going to get wedges in his hand. This is a perfect course for him. There's no doubt about that. And $200 more, you have Kisner, who hit his irons, made every 50-foot putt last week, just ungodly. These are the type of guys, when you're talking about winners in the next tier, easily wouldn't shock me if they're holding the trophy on Sunday.
So what do we do with like Im and Lowry, I guess, would be the two that I'm really having a tough time with, because these guys are way better than most of these people.
So Lowry probably out for me, just because and maybe I'm off base here, I just cannot picture him making like 25 birdies in any event. Like he's just given me, 9 birdies and the winning score is 6 under and he just wins. I don't know if this is the spot. Sanjay, if he's really low owned because he's playing bad, I'll stick with him in spots. He's a Bermuda guy. He gained tee to green finally last week, but if he's even remotely popular, I could do without him.
Yeah, just looking at his wins right now, Shane Lowry, the Irish Open as an amateur, beat Robert Rock in a playoff in 2009, minus 17.
Rock.
Yeah, Robert Rock, the man without a hat, the good Ollie Schneider-Jans. He won the Portugal Masters minus 14, Bridgestone minus 11, Abu Dhabi minus 18, the Open minus 15. He's been like around. He's played well at Heritage too. And like he's ball striking out of this world. Like if you could look like his irons versus Sergio's irons, like Lowry has been consistent. Sergio's just been all over the map.
Well, Sergio last week was highly disturbing. I don't know. It's going to be tough to get much with the putter out of either of them. Honestly, Lowry though, he's going to lose most likely. I think you can get away with that. Listen, these guys are still good enough where you can make a case, but for me, I don't know how often he really kills you. And there are other guys in the range that I prefer.
Well, is one of those guys, former winner of this event, trending in the right direction, both on the leaderboard and statistically? See, woo, Kim?
I leave that to you. See, woo. Striking the iron's great. Maybe we're just like waiting for the right week where he has an explosion putting performance. He's playing good golf. The price, he's getting the bump. That's for sure. He is priced like he's won this event for sure. That makes it a little difficult.
Yeah, I think I might roll with him at 86. I never use Siwoo on DraftKings either, but like I don't really want to bet him. He's down to like 33 to 1. I'm like,
6 to 1. Cool.
Yeah, don't love that one, but 86. I can probably handle going with Siwoo over Lowry, Im, and Chez and Sergio. Then you get to the bottom. Like I said, I like more. Connors does it for me. I just don't know if he can make enough putts. I just don't.
He's another. Yeah, I get it. It's just really tough. This is not an event. Like there are a lot of events where I say like, all right, if this guy can just give me flat 0 on the greens, that's a win. I'll take it. I'll lean on the ball striking. I don't know if that's going to be effective here. Like these bad putters, you have to do something just because it's almost impossible to hit it that close. Like you need to do it so often to rack up these numbers. So I worry about that. We haven't talked about the sevens, but Neiman's $100 less. I mean, I really like him. So that's probably where it goes more often than not.
Are you going to be using Kisner or Snedeker?
I'm going to use Kisner for sure. He just has just like Webb, he has the iron putting combo that I like. He's a winner. He could dust this field. Wouldn't shock me. Sneds is just an anomaly. I know he does things, but I worry about him. I know off the tee is mitigated, but his off the tee is so bad that I think it could be a problem here.
Yeah, he would really need to outperform his like baseline putting numbers since the restart in order to do what he normally does here, just because everything else is so out of whack. I would prefer Kisner, but it's gonna be Moore for me. So the only ones I'm gonna lock in Siwoo and Ryan Moore from the 8Ks right now.
Yeah.
And maybe add another one to that as the day goes on. My cheat sheet will be up on dknation.com later on Tuesday evening. Let's talk about these sevens, because you said Neiman. I was thinking about Connors, who's at the min. I know that people are going to go to Redmond. He's a very popular pick this week. I kind of like Fratelli at $7,900. Won the John Deere last year. The ball striking has been really good the past few events. We saw him light it up at Heritage with one of those super low rounds that he just seems like maybe he won't be a forgotten man, but around some of these names, like people are going to own Neiman. People are going to own Redmond. People are going to own Henley. They're going to own Moore. They're going to own Connors. Just feels like he might slip through the cracks.
I could see that. I'm a big Dylan Fratelli guy. He has it's not bizarro stats, but he can pop in any area. Sometimes he crushes off the tee. He can get crazy hot with the irons. No doubt. We've seen it. I know I'm going back, but he gained 11 strokes on the approach in an event. That's just insane. He's gained a boatload of strokes on greens before. He can get hot with the putter. And that's really what you're looking for when you're talking about upside, is just guys who can just explode. Other guys are more consistent. That doesn't really help you unless you're talking about making cuts and, kind of just grinding out cash or something. HV3, I don't want to say he's going to get lost, but I agree. People are going to go to Henley. People are going to go to Neiman and Redmond. Do you have any HV3 love?
I like HV3. He's a local guy. So, apparently he's like local to 3 separate places. He's like Mick Foley. Just no matter where he goes, it's his hometown. But I always feel like Varner is a little bit inflated just because people really root for Harold Varner. Like if it was me in that area, I'd probably go to CH3. I know he's coming off the shoulder injury, but he's playing. Like if you skip the PGA Championship to play in the Wyndham, I assume you're going to be okay. And he's been starting to play a little bit better. This is a pure CH3 course too.
It's a good course. It's not to say that it can't continue. He's been having the putting performances that you hope he has this week, and he's wasted it with bad ball striking. If that regresses, it could be a little challenging. I don't really like the upper sevens to me is loaded. There's 4 or 5 guys that you could easily play. When we get to the mid sevens here, like with Schwab and Wallace, Charles, I don't know how interested I am in these type of guys. It's not a big gap, but it's a gap between the guys a couple $100 more.
Any interest in Norlander, who had been playing awesome before?
No. Well, is he going to be, what do you think? Are we going back to like chalk Norlander where the guy just leans on the putter like a fool, or do you think he'll be reasonably owned?
I can't wrap my mind around it, but like he had he had the 2 great putting performances as chalk at Workday and Memorial at Muirfield Village. Then he went back to regular Norlander at 3M, where he just gained a bunch off the tee, gained a bunch on approach, couldn't putt again. But it's tricky. Like, what if I told you he was 10% owned?
If he's 10% owned, I probably come in around that, and I don't get punished like I was when I was fading him completely. But there's just too many other guys. Like Chris Kirk is going to be minimal ownership, and this is a good course for him. He won a Corn Ferry event this year. He's playing all right. I could go there. I think you could make a case if you wanted to for Sam Burns. I don't know if I'm going to be doing that. I like Kirk a little more, but he's a wild man, can crazy score, and he is back on Bermuda, which he has a real split. I don't look at that too much, but Sam Burns is one that I care about.
Yeah, like Norlander and Glover are kind of in the same boat, only because Glover had been playing really well. Then he started playing like tough events, and then all of a sudden he wasn't as good anymore. Now we're back at an easy course. He kills easy courses. But the guys I like from down here, I'm probably going to end up using my guy Luke List. He's just playing well.
Oh, yeah.
He lost almost 8 strokes putting at the PGA Championship and was even.
He made the one he needed to make, though, on Friday. I give him that. He got inside that line. The ball striking was fantastic. Yeah, gained over 8 strokes tee to green and lost it all back on the greens. He's going to stand out when you look at those things. But the rest of this range is like, I don't know, Bud Cauley, Willett, Stalling, Straka. I really don't have interest.
Oh, I do.
These guys.
I have interest in Scott Stallings, who I think rates out really well for this course, and I love Brendan Grace. I'm betting Brendan Grace to win.
Brendan Grace. Okay.
Back from COVID, Brendan Grace.
All right, so he's feeling fresh.
But he was scorching.
Where?
Well,
he's scorching with the irons, but he might be. I don't know if he's prepared to play 4 rounds. He hasn't done that in a while.
True. I mean, he's a winner. He's a previous winner at Heritage. He played really well at Charles Schwab as 2 corollary courses to this right from the outset. Then he started missing cuts, but the irons gained in 2 rounds at Memorial, gained 4.5 strokes on approach. Missed the cut at the 3. Missed the cut at the 3M, 3.6 strokes on approach. And when he withdrew from the Barracuda, he was winning.
Oh yeah, I forgot that's okay. I forgot that he withdrew in the middle of that.
I think he's risky because the guy just had COVID and is coming back, but and he's risky anyway because he could putt or could not putt, but he tends to putt better on Bermuda and he can go out and just fire at these pins. You're
making a good case. Like I said, South Africa, it's been a tough. I don't want to say decade, but man, they're hurting. Where do you have him in the South African rankings? Behind Usti, second?
I don't know, because we completely glossed over him, but I think we kind of talked about how if Spieth can get away with his shitty driving at this course, Seabez can get away with his awful driving at this course too, and he's irons and putting personified.
Yeah, I mean,
he's pricey, but if everyone's going to use Henley, Bezendenhout is going to be 2% owned.
It's true, and obviously his leak is off the tee. This is a crowded range. My teams, I anticipate when I build could have upwards of 3 guys in the 7s on them, a lot of them. So you're going to have options, but I still think I'm going to be funneled into the upper 7s rather than the lower 7s. I will say that Grace, I like Luke List definitely better than him, but I had him in the bucket with Hoffman, Harmon, Straka, Stallings, where I had no interest. Maybe I will move him to the next tier where I take some stabs.
Since the restart, Scott Stallings has gained over 2 strokes on approach, at least 2 strokes on approach, in 4 of his 5 weighted events. He's made the cut in every event. He almost, and this is including Barracuda, where he made a run at the title on Sunday. He ended up coming inside the top 10. His only bad performance was Rocket Mortgage, and he still came 39th. The guy is just playing pretty steady right now. It's kind of shocking.
He is making cuts. I used him at 3M, and he had some flashes, and then he really collapsed on the weekend. He just needs to get the short game in order. Again, this is a course you can only do so much. Obviously, if you really have good ball striking, you're probably going to make the weekend. But if you really want to score and you need streaks, bonuses, you're going to need the under 70 bonus with a handful of guys on every team. You got to be crisper with the putting. So if you can turn that, I see it. But if not, it's probably another 58th, 55th. Those aren't going to get it done this week.
Okay. You ready to go into the 6K?
I got to take a breath. Oh, hold on. Wait, we got to talk about the flat 7s because I got people.
I got no one at the flat 7.
What?
Yeah.
Aaron Wise is there.
How is this an Aaron Wise course?
It's an Aaron Wise course. I don't know exactly, but so here's the thing with Aaron Wise. He used to be a really good putter. If he can rekindle that, he can score. Other than that, I really don't know. But the guy I actually want to talk, I have to mention Aaron Wise, but I want to talk. You mentioned at the top RCB. He's been bad. Do you have just name recognition, though, at flat 7 in a field like this? Do you look at him or do you just say he's been so bad? I'll let other people chase that.
Historically, this would have been a perfect course for him.
That's what I'm saying.
Hit some fairways and just hit your wedges into every green and just score the shit out of the course. But he can't do that anymore, it seems.
No, I mean, it's a much better fit than Aaron Wise. I have to admit that. But God, it's crazy to see. I mean, if he was playing well, he's in the mid 8s and I don't even blink here. God, I guess I probably won't have any, honestly, and that's pretty crazy to say considering he's a guy with a real resume.
You might be better off using Stuart Sink at this course.
Well, that's not going to happen.
Or Jim Furyk.
You might be right, but that's not happening.
We've seen old dudes win at this. DL3 won this event 4 years ago. It's not inconceivable. You don't need to hit it long at all at this course. Everyone can reach the par 5s and 2. Furyk kind of sets up really well. It's on Bermuda. It's a short course. Like, he's still good with his iron, same as Sink.
No, I get it. It's honestly, I can admit it, that it's probably a straight bias. I just don't equate it's amazing. I don't equate the guy who shot 58 with scoring. These guys, I'm just like, yeah, they can make a cut, but are they going to score enough? So that's something I probably need to work on. I see every time I looked last week, somehow he was like 6 over, but Denny McCarthy had like 10 eagles at the PGA. He's here, just the putting god himself. So you could go to someone like that to start off the 6s.
I don't think it's inconceivable to go with McCarthy here. Like, if you're at a course where his one skill is weighted this heavily, now we know that he doesn't just automatically gain. It's like Todd. They don't just automatically gain 7 strokes putting every single week. Like, this is a really good course for Todd as well. I don't think we mentioned that, but like, I don't know if I really want to play like $8,900 Todd in this field, although he is playing really well. But Zach Johnson out of all the 7K guys, I think it would be Zach Johnson for me. And I don't like Zach Johnson.
No, I don't like Zach Johnson either. I think that just speaks to maybe the limited options at flat 7, because I know that in theory this is, the JDC man himself, but I don't want to do that. I would rather roll the dice with just a pure rando in the high 6s.
All right, let's talk about these 6s. Here are the guys I currently have stars next to on Fantasy National. Ready for this?
Oh, I'm ready.
Pat Perez, Kyle Stanley, Mark Hubbard, Bryce Garnett, Andrew Landry, Wes Bryan, Sebastian Munoz, Tyler Duncan, Jason Duffner, CT Pan.
Okay. That's all very solid, like no creative players.
I mean, you can talk me into Chris Baker, the birdie maker.
I played him the other week because of you, and he actually did pretty good.
He's not bad. But he sounds like there is one guy down here. I think he's Canadian. A guy who's just been crushing his irons. Michael Gillick. And he's like $6,100.
Michael Gillick. Yeah, I don't know who that is.
And the only time he ever putts well is on Bermuda. Sometimes. Like, he's a positive putter historically on Bermuda, but like, he's a bad putter. But he's just been crushing irons.
20. See, this is the type of guy where on Sunday it's like, oh, he's in the 3M Open. Never saw his name. If you would have had me guess who you had starred, I would have bet a good amount of money that Adam Long was on there.
He was, but he was originally on it, and he rates out really well, but he just seems to be the guy people are going to in the 6Ks. Like, if I'm going to scattershot the 6Ks, don't give me the chalky 6K guy.
Yeah, I'm with you there. If he garners any sort of ownership, you can make so many different pivots. What about the guy that I don't say really like, but definitely towards the top is Adam Schenk for me.
Why Adam Schenk?
So obviously he's cheap, Bermuda guy, gaining tee to green pretty substantially in not all the events, but certainly all the events in July. Hasn't materialized just because he's done nothing with the putter and with the short game. And I kind of think that the results haven't been, I'm not saying he should have been in contention in these events, but he should have been better than like 40th. His best showing ever was John Deere. I don't think this correlates to Wells Fargo, but I do think there are some similarities. Obviously, that's a lot more driver heavy. He was 13th there, weak field guy, not getting talked up. I think you can make a case for Adam Schenk.
Who do you think the best play in the 6s is? Because, I mean, if Munoz can start putting again, he's back to $6,600.
Yeah, it might be Munoz. He's easily going to be in the player pool. Like one of the first guys that I noticed down here. Who do I think the best play is? I mean,
Wes Bryant.
No. Pat Perez just kind of, I mean, he's towards the top of it. So I just think he's kind of maybe the best player and the form is good enough where it's the best combination. Let me ask you this. If you were playing like a bunch of lineups, way more than you normally do, would you even take a flyer on Russell Knox?
He played well at Barracuda, which really surprised me, but that's been the first sign of life he's shown in like 6 months.
Yeah, legitimately. I know this is a good course for him. but my God, I'm tempted to take a couple shares. I just don't. It's been so bad. If he didn't play well at Barracuda, I'm not sure I'd even consider it, but he did. So I kind of am.
But we got like Chase Seifert down here, your guy, and Matthew Neesmith,
Your guy.
who, the inventor of basketball, continues to like gain with his irons. His big problem has been he's just been bleeding strokes with his driver. But if that's not going to be that big of a deal, over the past 36 rounds, he's 4th in this field in approach.
I mean, I've said it many times. Give me a guy that's doing one thing really well over someone who's just like a little below average in all 4, or even average in all 4. Like you can lean, his strokes gained approach stands out amongst all categories of all guys down here. Like it might be the strongest category for any guy besides maybe like Aaron Badley's stupidity around the greens, but no one cares about that. I'll just say this. I think Sun Kang was 6,400 last week.
I used him last week, and what not a great weekend, Sung.
He finished his last round in like 10 minutes, so that was good. He's probably rested. He went out early and was just like sprinting on the course. God,
I like him. I like Sun Kang at longer courses, by the way, than shorter courses.
That's fair.
Because he drives the ball way longer than I think everyone else realizes.
God, what happened to Austin Cook? Used to be like serious business, and now
this type of course like was his jam. RSM, Heritage, Wyndham,
Valspar.
This would have been the perfect Austin Cook course. I just don't know what's going on with that guy.
Yeah, I like again. So when I'm obviously reviewing some of these guys, I do it in a couple of different ways with recent form, but then. So when I do crossover stuff, his name showed up because I have Valspar up there as well. You mentioned Colonial. Like these are the type of tracks that I would go to him. But when there's such a stark difference between what he was doing then and what he's doing now, obviously it's a red flag. I don't know exactly what to do. Did you mention Stewart?
No, but he plays really well on this type of course. Short Bermuda course is, again, like whenever you see Brian Stewart at the top of leaderboards, it's at a course like this.
And he can get, again, it's hard. You don't want to bank on like, well, he could gain 8 strokes putting. Because yes, as we saw last week, like not that Morikawa is not great, but if you're first in putting, you're probably going to be pretty good. Brian Stewart, though, he can get crazy hot on these type of greens. So if you're just looking for, especially if you have some conservative plays up top, I wouldn't mind taking him and just hoping that you get that Bermuda showing from him.
I just wish I loved someone in the 10K area as much as I like Justin Rose to pair with, because I would basically just lock in Rose, lock in that guy, and then just honestly just have a mix of these $6,000 guys as the rest of my team.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I have the same concept as a build, except I'm doing it the other way where I'm going to go possibly below Rose with another top end guy. And instead of locking in like all these 6s, I lock in a lot of 7s and do it like that. So I think there are 2 ways to do it. Obviously, if Rose or someone like English or Billy Ho are your second guy in, you're dipping. But if they're not, you can do the same build, except instead of these guys being in the mid 6s, they can be in the mid 7s.
I just don't see a lot of difference between, let's say,
that's fair.
I mean, Tom Lewis has been playing really well, and so is Matthias Schwab and Matt Wallace and these guys. But like, I like Tyler Duncan at a course like this.
Yeah, like Munoz in the mid 7s, I'd still probably play him. I do have one guy, and it's not Lahiri, who is here though. Thank God.
Are you going to bet Arjun Atwal, or former winner of this event, by the way, or Lahiri as low Indian?
Yeah, where's Sharma? I wish we could get some more guys in there. Yeah, Arjun Atwal is another one, big candidate to be in 6th on Saturday, and I didn't even know he was in the event, despite me saying this. Did you look at Hank Lebioda? 61. I mean, it obviously is just based off he was nuclear hot at the 3M.
And still only came in, but he still only came in 26th. It was like the best tournament he ever had ball striking.
That's fair. Yeah. Yeah, it's not ideal when you win the Mega Millions and you like win $17, which is what he kind of did there. Again, his approach there was nuts. I think he's think he's another Florida State guy. So maybe Seifert taught him some tricks. I don't know. I don't think you need to go this low. So be careful in the low sixes.
I think Duncan might be the lowest I go. Actually, Naismith and Duncan and Pan. Like, Pan is someone who's been hitting his irons really well, but I think he's lost. I don't think he's gained strokes putting in any event this year.
Yeah, I mean, and that's weird because when he came out, it seemed, and this is why you got to be careful with young guys. Like, I was like, oh, this guy's a good putter.
Well, he went one of two ways. He either like lost 5 strokes or gained 5 strokes,
which I love. That's the best type of putter. Because, you know, if at an event like this, if you gain 0 or -5 on the greens, I don't think it's going to be the difference in possibly winning something, to be honest. It can make your week worse, of course, but I would much rather know I'm boom or bust on the greens. And, Axel Batia's here, still searching.
Oh, but he is. How does he keep getting into these fields?
I don't.
What happened to my other guy who was getting into fields? He actually played well at Barracuda too. The other young guy who just randomly plays in every event. He's not here.
Who? Will Gordon?
No, Will Gordon is playing this week.
That guy. My life was a lot easier when I didn't know he existed. Like, because he shows up in things and I don't have time for that.
Andrew Landry's sneaky, by the way, this week.
Where is he?
He's like 66, 6,700.
Andrew Landry. Oh yeah, he's next to Shank. That's why I didn't notice him.
He can't chip to save his life, but I mean, if you're chipping here, you're already done.
Yeah, you've already lost. Yeah, I mean, the good thing about Andrew Landry is like especially when you're talking about the 6K range, like he's a pure winner in this bunch. Like he actually can go out there, and if you strike lightning in a bottle, you're not getting paid off with a top 20. You're getting paid off with like, you know, possibly a real chance at winning the event.
Do you want me to give you some heat for Aaron Wise here, if you want to make a case for him?
Sure, of course. Please, I need all the help I can get making a case.
Past 36 rounds overall, Aaron Wise, number 1 in this field in proximity from 100 to 125 yards. So if he can use his distance and has a lot of these like half gap wedges in, he's money. Straight
cash. Yeah, I cannot tell, and it's been just a disappointing for a lot of my guys, but I don't know if there's anyone I've been more disappointed in than Wise. I really thought he was going to have a big year. This guy, he made the cut in all 4 majors last year.
You serious?
Yeah. He's like one of the only people, you know, last year that did that.
I'm looking at Ryan Moore this week. So from 100 to 125, 125 to 150, 150 to 175, 175 to 200, where I think like 85% of the approach shots come from this week. He ranks 4th, 1st, 5th in those 4.
He's definitely going to miss.
He's going to come dead last.
Dead last, literally behind Vince Carello. Yeah, I mean, there is a real chance that Ryan Moore is my highest owned player of the week. He fits every build.
I think Rose will be that guy for me, but just like looking down here, like Moore is, like I said, number 1 from 125 to 150. The other guys down there, your boy Knox is there, but Stanley, I think I'm going to bet Stanley to win. He, like, his Barracuda stats don't get included in that either, but he played really well. Like, Wes Bryant's irons are actually really good. He's sort of like the homeless man's Spieth.
Yeah, that's bad because Spieth is an iteration of a homeless man, someone else. So you're like multiple tiers of homelessness.
Well, Spieth has become the homeless man's Webb.
See what I'm saying? Like that's
Webb, Spieth, West. There's your build.
Yeah,
throw Denny McCarthy, Andrew, throwing Denny McCarthy, and who else can we go with down there? Guys who like can't drive it but can putt and hit some irons.
Luke Donald. I mean, don't do that.
Luke Donald, the Gim Reaper.
Yeah, Doug.
David Hearn.
I don't want to keep throwing out names. This is the last one, I swear. Did you look at Robbie Shelton?
No, I didn't.
Okay. That's all we need to talk about. He was good at 3M. I'm not going to get there either. I just wondered if that enticed you.
Now I got to trim down the 6K range, but I got to figure out. I got to figure out how to do that. I currently have 11 players in the 6K range start.
Yeah, that's a little. It's tricky though. I mean, I get it. I have weeks like that where I kind of like mushroom out towards the bottom and have a bunch of flyers. But you want to be careful. Like, God, Russell Knox is just staring me in the face here, and that's just going to be stupid if I lose exposure by playing him.
I feel like that can only go wrong.
You know, I can speak from so many years of experience with that. It's going to go wrong, and Munoz is right there, and he's clearly the prudent play.
All right, that'll do it. Pat Mayo experience. Fun times at the Wyndham. I'm actually more excited for this field than I am for the Northern Trust next week. I don't know why.
I'm excited. I mean, last week I had a fun, great time doing the show with you. I'm not joking. Literally minutes after we stopped filming, I lost power for 3 days. So I'm just excited to have a normal lead up to an event this week. And yeah, we'll get right back at it. And then we get just all sorts of good things coming up with the majors and the FedEx Cup playoffs.
Well, this is the last time we're going to see a lot of these like jabronis in fields once the playoffs start.
Yeah, no, this is, if you're going to play, if you're looking to fill in your bingo card with a guy you've never played, this is the week to do it. Ben Martin should be that guy for most of you, but yeah, after this, it's only real golfers for a while.
All right. Ben Rasa, awesemo.com. Now that golf isn't really coming to a conclusion because we have this week, then there's 3 weeks of the playoffs. Then I think like it's an off week, then the US Open, then the swing season starts.
Yeah. And then there's just like there's majors obviously going into October and November and whatnot. But of course, baseball, basketball, the playoffs are about to start. I can't believe that football starts in a month. I don't feel prepared, do you? But it's pretty crazy. Everything is happening now.
Football, like I'm 60% of the way in. I haven't really taken the full on plunge yet. I was really waiting for that like opt-out date to be finished. So I didn't want to like do a bunch of research, then have to redo all the research once everyone was out. Like I did one draft with Jake and I drafted Darius Geis. It's like, oh, great. He was my running back too in my no running back build. But I'm going to be hammering down. Like I'm recording another football show later on today for Wednesday. I'm going to try to get up to 2 a week for football and figure it out that way. But like there's not enough time slots for me in the week to do golf, MMA, football, and then like, you know, one of the fun shows that I like to do. It's kind of weird.
It's crazy times. Which is, yeah. And we are the same way over at Awesemo, just everything in full swing. We got all the tools, got all the ownership projections. So if you are crunched for time, it's a great way to save some time and make some money. Come on in.
It's been weird too. Like I would really want to get into like the bubble, the NBA bubble. I have no interest in hockey. I wasn't going to watch that anyway. But like I just found like I haven't had a ton of time to like sit down and watch basketball. I'm not even talking about like betting on basketball or playing DraftKings on basketball, just watching basketball, which I would enjoy to do. Maybe it'll be different once the playoffs start, but there's just so much going on that you really have to pick and choose, I feel.
Oh, it's brutal. And like obviously for me, like Saratoga, this is the biggest time for horses. Your boy Tiz the Law ran the other day, just mowed down another field. The guy can't be stopped. It's everything is going, and it is pick your priorities because you can't do it all.
Yeah, I think I'm going to stick with golf, UFC, and football and Cuss Corner. Those will be my 4 lanes.
That's pretty damn good.
Well, that's what built up this show. That's what the people like. So smash the like button on the way out, especially if you want more Cussed Corners. We've been trying to work on filming a new one here recently. Subscribe to the Pat Mayo Experience audio podcast. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at the PME, and become a member at fantasynational.com. Again, like Ben said, if you want to save some time, get your lineups generated super quickly, get all the stats you need, fantasynational.com/Mayo for 20% off. I'm Pat Mayo. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.
Pat Mayo Experience! Experience!